I want to welcome everyone to our February Board of Education meeting. This time I want to call it to order and also ask Ms. Micaiah Norman if she would come up and lead us in prayer and also in the Pledge of Allegiance.
May everyone please bow their heads. Heavenly Father, we come here today to thank you for your guidance, wisdom, and support as this meeting begins. Thank you, Lord, for grace as decisions are made that affect students, staff, and faculty here in Lee County. Continue to remind us all that this is done here and all this is accomplished for the greater glory of you and for the service of humanity. We ask and thank you for these things in your name. Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ms. Micaiah.
Yes, thank you. Board, before you, you have the consent items, which consist of the agenda, the minutes of the January 8th, 2019 meeting, Skills USA State Competition and Career Expo, March 21 through 23rd, 2019 in College Park, Georgia. And also 2 policies for revision, CEI, Evaluation of Superintendent, and IDDB, Remedial Education. Any discussion on those? If not, entertain a motion, approve them.
I motion that we accept the minutes from the January 8th meeting, as well as accept the field trip for the expo.
Okay. And for the policies too, or you want to hold those out to review? You want all the consent items, or?
Yes.
Okay. We have a motion to accept all the consent items.
Second.
Have a second? All in favor?
Question.
Okay.
Due to the fact that you say I have to explain my no votes, that I did not get an agenda this month, so I will not vote to approve the minutes, which I have not read.
Okay. All right. All in favor? Opposed? 4-1. We have public participation tonight. First on the agenda is Mr. Fred Scott.
I want to take it a minute at a time. Since I started 3.5 years ago, this has been a ongoing thing of not having enough drivers, which that's that way all over the state. It's not just here. All I'm asking the board to consider whoever you hire next to have CDLs, because a lot of the athletic programs, you're talking about football games, I have 5 buses that leave. I got 5 drivers to run my routes. So it kind of puts me in a crunch. It's not just football, it's all the sports. I mean, you're looking at 2 buses going to a soccer game or whatever, that's 2 drivers I have to find to fill that spot in the afternoon. I got subs, but very few. And I can't always count on them. I just think that the board ought to consider when you hire anybody in the athletic, it needs to be somebody that's got CDLs and willing to drive. Thank you.
Question, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
May I address?
Mr. Scott? Okay.
Mr. Scott, it has been brought to my attention that several people, 2 or 3 of them work with law enforcement, have applied. 2 of them, I gave you their names about 3 or 4 months ago and told you they had put in their application for the 3rd time. they still haven't heard from you or
We
anybody else.
We call everybody, when people's numbers change.
Their
we
number
can't get-
hasn't changed.
Well, if they give it, I call them tomorrow.
Do you not keep applications on file?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I will give you the names so you can call them.
All right. But you have people every week that come in and want to apply, but once they go to take the CDL test, we'll never hear back from them.
Well, these people are intelligent. I think they can pass the CDL test.
All right, thank you, Mr. Scott.
You can pick these up.
Next on the agenda is Denise Freeman.
Mr. Chair, do I need to step down or may I sit here?
Ms. Freeman, I'm not really sure why you on here, so it's been really,
Because I knew that you would not afford me the opportunity to speak, so I think it's very important when you assassinated my character the last meeting by saying I was a habitual absentee. Mr. Chair, you know that 2 of those absentees were not absentees because I called in and I did the meeting over the phone. You know, another one of those absentees wasn't an absentee. I called in, but you refused to let me be part of the board meeting via telephone. Mr. Chair, the other meeting that I missed, I had given the superintendent the information. I was in New York, storms were coming, and I called him and said, I'm landing in the midst of traffic. I may or may not make it. And unfortunately, I didn't make it. But I've only had 1 absence. I had 2 phone, and when you call in on the phone, it is not an absentee. You're present. And I would not have had the other absence had you gone by state law and policy and afforded me, as you did 2 times previously, the opportunity to call in. Mr. Chair, it seems that after I went into the school, at the elementary school, you guys made a policy that I couldn't go. The policy was made for me, that I couldn't go into schools without your approval or the superintendent. Then you made a policy, everything that I attempt to do or try to do, you guys come up with a policy. It's not a policy that's laid out before us. We're not part of making the policy as a board. You guys, the good old boys, go behind closed doors and you make the policy as you see fit to keep quiet. So my question to you, starting the new year, I would like for you to treat me with the utmost respect. I am not your underling. I am not your housewife. I am an elected official, a member of this board with equal power as yourself. Being the chair gives you no more power than me or any other board member. So you need to get that straight because I think you're twisted on it. And what about the illegal meetings? I understand that a meeting was had a few weeks ago at one of the board members' business. I understand that 2 board members may have been present and they met with an employee. It seems like you guys do everything to protect the evil and nothing to protect the good. We have children to make sure that they're safe, that they're not hit by grown people, that they're not abused. We have a job to do that if we tell our children not to fight, that they have a dress code, then our administrators, teachers, etc. should too. If girls can't wear short dresses, then nobody else should be wearing short dresses or tight pants, etc. and so on. But it seems like we have double standards. It's who you know, and that's how you get by with stuff. Well, I'm not interested in being any of your friends. We are business acquaintances here once a month. That's my only interest, is to come here and do the business of my district and the people of Lincoln County. So, having said that, if we're going to have a discipline code, a dress code for our children, then we need the same for our adults that work in our system. It should not be double standard. I shouldn't have to explain myself, but when my character is assassinated, as you did last time, just so you could get your boy as chair, because I got 12 years experience to his too. But it's something in my mind that you guys sitting up in fast time had already pre-decided, orchestrated, but please don't think I'm stupid. Please don't think that God don't show me stuff that's done behind closed doors. Because I see and I know. And you can hide stuff from me, but everything comes out in the wash. And the wool will be pulled off. Touch my anointed one and do my prophet no harm.
Thank you, Ms. Freeman. Next on the agenda is financials. Ms. Buffett?
First, we had the general fund, and with 58.33% of our fiscal year complete, we have collected 62.2% of our total revenues. You can see our tax revenues are 61.33%. Last month that was 35, so that looks much better and should be even better by the end of February. So we are doing well on our revenues. On our expenditures, we're at 56.1%, which is slightly under the 58.33. So all the expenditures are looking in line. Some are a little higher, some are a little lower. That's to be expected this time of year. On our balance sheet, we have the cash in the bank of about $3 million. Our fund equity is $2.1 million. Last month that was $1.39 million, and that's because of the tax revenue mainly. So that has gone up, and that will start going down as we go through the year, because we won't have those high taxes every month. But that is looking good for this time of year. So everything is looking good on our general fund. On our SPLOST fund, we collected $56,628.17 in January, and you can see that's just slightly more than last month, but also more than last January. I did some figuring. Last year, this time we had collected about $375,719. This year we've got $383,908, so we're about $8,000 more than this time last year. So we're still collecting a little over our $50,000 a month average. So we're still within our budget, but looking good. I thought that would drop some with the sales tax on cars, as more people buy new cars and don't have that, but we're still hanging in there, so that's good. That looks good for our SPLOST. On our balances, the SPLOST summary, balance at the end of January was $629,350.84. On the bond tax, $715,757.62. So you can see we've got 1.3. So we do have our payment for our April 1st that will be due. So we've got that, and we'll continue to collect on the next year's tax bond principal and interest. On our capital projects, we completed the the tile in the teacher workroom and the stadium school board and the iView upgrade. There's a little bit of money left there. We may have a little bit more involved with that, but that one's basically complete. And I believe the stucco repair has been started, so that hopefully will be finished in February. So all our projects will be basically complete, and we'll still have that $52,000 available for other projects.
Any questions for Ms. Buffett on our financials?
Okay, yes, one. What was the total cost of the stucco?
$7,800.
Oh,
It's
okay.
7,800, right?
I see it now.
Yeah.
I see it now. And they're almost finished?
They're not almost finished, they have started.
They've just started?
Yes, ma'am. The weather is
Right.
the issue that they're fighting, but they have started.
All right. And do we have any other, Mr. Superintendent, capital outlet plans, projects that may come in the future that you know of?
Not that we have gotten bids on yet, no.
But there are some you're thinking about?
Always some that we want to do, definitely.
And the equipment on top of the high school, heating, air is all functioning well now?
As good as can be expected with its age, yes.
So we didn't have to replace any of those?
Not yet, we're still able to repair it,
So they did find the coolant?
yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other questions from Ms. Buffett? Okay, thank you, Ms. Buffett. Next on our agenda is the old high school mowing.
You remember back in January, we had made the decision to go with Trinity Lawn and Landscaping to maintain the grounds here in Lincoln County. At that time, we were in discussion on the rental of the old high school. Within that rental, whoever rented that would take care of those grounds as well. Since that rental is no longer going through and interested party has now become uninterested, we had to find a way to get that property mowed and taken care of. We requested that Trinity, who has all the other property, would give us a quote of what it would cost to do that property for the entire year. That quote was $9,984. That would increase the total cost for the year to $40,584, which, if you remember way back when Outdoor Solutions did it, that was $53,000 and some change. So this is still 13 plus less than that. So it is my recommendation that we ask Trinity Lawn Care and Landscape to continue and do all of the properties, and it would cost us an additional $9,984 for the year.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Ask the superintendent a question.
Go ahead.
Would this not be better, since it is a separate entity from what was bidded on before? Does not the law cover that it has to be bid out again, or?
It doesn't have to be bid out because it's less than 10,000.
So that's why it's 990, 909.
I can't submit his bid. I'm just telling you it's less than 10,000, so
So-
we believe it does not have to be bid
So
out.
we're covered then,
Yes, ma'am.
Is this a
but
Do
for
you-
the parent, I'm sorry,
You-
but to avoid the parents of wrongdoing, we could bid this out, correct?
We could, yes, ma'am. I was hoping to stick with one company, but we could bid it out.
If you look at, some of you may not be aware, but show them the two different zones that this covers. So the other zones were part of the original bid.
Zone 3, Zone 4, Zone 5, and Zone 6 are all part of the original bid. We asked him not to bid on 1 and 7. So this 9,984 is Zone 1, which you see goes all the way out to the street, and Zone 7, which is separated back here in the old CTAE wing. So all of this now would be part of Trinity if we would approve that recommendation.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with
Show them this one,
Trinity,
too.
but I just think it should be bidded out, a separate bid, and if he wins it, fine.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
is it in our budget? I mean,
Yes.
We budgeted for that.
Yes.
Where is this coming from, the general fund?
As you know, part of our, was it last year or 2 years ago that we actually hired two, and then actually a third person to help when we took on landscaping on ourselves. It didn't go well. I mean, grass wasn't cut. There were several different things, and for numerous reasons, we did not keep people in those positions. not very long for different issues, different things. They left us. So that's when, it was decided to try bidding it out again.
Correct.
So that's part of it. So the 40,000 would actually be a big savings for us.
And Mr. Chair, the other part of it was, money. They felt like they could make better money, and so, because the little bit they were getting when they got their first check, they were like, hot son.
Oh, yeah,
So,
I understand that. But that's part of it. But between the benefits and everything on it, for 2 or 2.5 employees, this is less.
We don't have to maintain any equipment.
No, the only equipment we would take care of is the equipment for the fields. We would be taking care of the fields, but that wasn't part of the bid, so.
but we had bought something that cost, what, almost $30,000 piece of equipment. So it wasn't about equipment or the lack of equipment. I think we purchased from Wilkes County somewhere.
If you're talking about the tractor, we are still using the tractor
Yeah,
to
but-
meet the
but
needs of the fields.
I'm trying to bring clarity. It wasn't about the equipment. It was about the pay and the lack thereof.
We tried to make the pay equal with the custodians, or just under the custodians.
But right now, we have a proposal by our superintendent. He wants to add this portion to Trinity for $9,984 a year.
Can I ask one more question?
Yes.
Since they started in January, they've given good service thus far.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion if there's no other question.
Okay. Make a motion.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we take and bid this out to other entities that may want to partake of the grass cutting services.
Do we have a second?
And this is just for the new part.
It's just for zone 1 and 7.
Yes.
The other's already taken care of.
Okay. For lack of a second, we're going to move forward. Do I have a recommendation, or do I have the motion for the superintendent's recommendation?
I'll make a motion to accept.
We have a motion to accept the superintendent's recommendation. Do I have a second?
A second emotion.
We have a second by Ms. Barksdale. Any other discussion?
One more question, I hate to do this. It says per year, is this gonna be, I know the other part was 2-year contract, this was gonna be for 1 year for the 2 years.
This one is an annual. I didn't require a 2-year contract.
Okay. Okay.
All right. All in favor? Opposed? 4-1. And we have some policies for revision. IED 2, online learning. ABC. I'll let you go through each one of them.
All right.
If we do it.
Mr. Williams, you're gonna have to help me tonight because I took my Chromebook with me to Pulaski, so I don't have it in front of me to read. So pull down if you would. We have a few changes for this policy for online. We had to remove some things that are no longer necessary or usable. As an example, you can see the line through the cost for online instruction is determined by the institution. That is no longer true. And then we have added students who have not completed their Odyssey Ware course by the end of the semester will have, will have up to 10 school days at the beginning of the next semester to complete the course. If the course is not completed in that time, a failing grade will be recorded on the transcript. We removed Georgia Virtual and put in tuition for Georgia Virtual GAVS is paid by the school system. Students have up to 13 days from that date in time. The class is first assessed. Georgia Virtual is the $500 if they don't take the class and complete it and pass it. You can see where we've taken out free of charge by Godot for Georgia Virtual and added by the system so that it is now accurate. We've also added if a student does not complete Georgia Virtual course before the expiration date, the student will have to pay the school system $25 to have the class reinstated. You can keep going. We removed that piece that's lined out. And then we added any attempted online credit becomes an attempt of record. A failed online class will be recorded on the student's transcript and will be calculated to GPA. Go ahead. And then we updated the sign-in sheet for moms and dads to be able to sign in, and that's a very important part, so that moms and dads not only know the rigor of the classes on Georgia Virtual, but they're also required to take, if it's an online class that has an EOCT, they have to take that. But more important to us, that the moms and dads know the rigor of this class and what it's going to entail for the student. Keep going.
That's it.
That's it, okay. On that one?
Dr. Light,
Yes.
I know you have the part where the parents sign.
Yes, sir.
Is there any way to make that, or that, can we add to that,
Sure.
where parents would need to come and actually meet with a counselor, especially if they're like a 9th and 10th grader, just to truly explain the differences of an online class versus having an instructor in front of you, encouraging you. I've had 4 kids take online classes, and they've all had different experiences with it. And I know like I said, I don't know if how much extra headache that'd be for counselors, but I think some parents, maybe if their kids have done really well in middle school, think that's not going to be an issue, but online classes for a 9th grader, even 10th grader can be difficult.
Dr. Gumby, correct me if I'm wrong, this form is sent home, signed by mom and dad, and sent back, correct?
We're kind of waiting on this update, hoping it was going to be approved tonight so we can get those signed this year with the date changes, because we did have the wrong dates. So I didn't want to send it home when we had 10 and it was actually 13. So as soon as this is approved, we're going to make sure all those who are online now get it signed.
But that's the process this
That
goes
is the
through,
process,
correct?
that's correct, yes, sir.
So it's not a requirement currently for them to come in and meet with the council.
That is correct.
How much of a hassle would that be, in your opinion, for us to do that? I think
won't
we
be a
could do
hassle.
that to educate moms and dads, especially 9th and 10th graders.
Might be a good idea, and if, of course, if Ms. Blanchett couldn't do it, you still got myself or Mr. Matt, so administration and counselors could actually provide that to the
Okay.
parents.
So we could have them come in, and while they're there, they could sign it once they understand the rigor of the class.
Sure.
Okay? We can add that.
In just the 9th and 10th grade, you think that's appropriate? Or just leave it at 9th and 10th grade level as far as requiring the actual visual one-on-one with parents?
I mean, we can make it required for all students, because again, if they didn't take a 9th or 10th, and it's their first 11th grade class, you know, again, online learning is different, and it requires them to be independent, and so, all students.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Superintendent, the second highlighted on page 3, where it talks about if it does not complete, is that supposed to be, you have this fed is set by GACR, is that supposed to be fee?
It's supposed to be fee.
And let's go back to the tuition for Georgia Virtual School. They charge our kids or our system,
System.
system the
Yes,
$500?
Mhm.
So what does the other program charge our school?
Odyssey where?
Yes.
We pay for Odyssey Wear.
Do you know what that figure is?
I don't know what it is per class because we pay for it.
900.
900,
900 per seat.
900 per seat? Thank you. Oh, one other question. So this is a good program?
Yes, ma'am, it gives kids alternatives.
It's a good alternative?
Mhm.
Okay.
The GAVS, of course, we have our AP classes, AP Human Geography that we don't teach in the high school, so kids have that option to take those rigorous courses that we don't offer in the high school.
The other question I had, it just came back to me while Dr. Gumby was talking. You want to give the parents the code to go in and see what the children are doing? A password? Yeah. Is that what you were saying?
Well, actually, that was already in here. That wasn't what I was saying. My thoughts were just to make sure parents understood that the self-discipline that is needed from a child that's taking online classes. When they can just totally skip out, not do a thing, yet they're gonna be required to turn in, all the assignments by midnight on Wednesday or Thursday or Friday or whatever that particular teacher decides. And
I would even include giving them this policy so that they can see the entire policy as well, with the package that is prepared for them. So,
they have it all.
yeah, I think they should have it all.
Okay,
We can do that.
all right. Move on to the next policy.
JVC.
Yes.
This policy, we took out adequate yearly progress because that's no longer adequate. It no longer is applicable to the state. I think that's the only one on there. It may be one more, I'm not positive. I think that's the only one on that policy. Looks like it. Yes, that was the only change on that one. That takes us to JGCB. This is on inoculations. I had our nurses update this one for us. The change with child born after 1/1 of 06 will be required to have vaccinations for hepatitis A. So that's the most recent update.
Mr. Chair, question, and
Yes.
it's not in these policies, but it's a question that has arisen. Do we have a policy that deals with unprofessionalism, child endangerment, abuse? What is our policy on that?
Dr. White, can you look those up and then we can send that to us via email or
I can handle that.
contact?
I believe it would go back to the PSC and the ethics, I would believe, but I'll go back and make sure that that covers what you're looking for.
Yeah, because from what I saw in it, that the state still holds certificated, let me say this right, people who have a license or certification from PSC
Correct.
responsible to report what may be or appears to be child abuse, neglect. I know we do it to parents. My question is, when we see it in staff, do we use that same procedure? And would those organizations like PSC investigate and find out that it wasn't reported? Because as I understand it, it doesn't have to be, if there is an appearance, they don't require you to say this is fact, it's happening. But if there's an appearance that it could be and a complaint, it's better to have an outside entity investigate instead of we investigating ourselves. Because sometimes self gets involved in friendship and all of that kind of jazz. And our job is to protect these children. I think that's our job, is to educate, protect, and make sure that they're safe from all harmful environments. All harmful environments. So I'd like to see if we're doing that with our policy. If we're not, then we need to address that. But I know that state law does.
I know that we're mandated reporters, but we will,
You are mandated reporters?
all of us are.
Oh, I know that. I'm just asking to see if you know it. So, when things like that happen, have you reported them?
If I was aware of it, I've reported it, yes, ma'am, if it wasn't reported prior to me.
Okay,
All right.
I'm making you aware of it.
Okay, at this time, we're going to move on to superintendent's reports and informational items.
I think everybody is aware via the newspaper and the announcements that we have made that we rolled out Parent Squared on February 4. I have asked Mr. Williams to do a brief PowerPoint to not only show the community, but even board members, if you haven't already downloaded Parent Squared on your phone, this would be an opportunity to understand a quick and easy method to do that. If you would, Mr. Williams,
Yes.
please charge forward.
All right, all right. Give it a little time here. We're gonna get going. Parent Square, as you may have read in the paper, it is a app, or it cannot be used as app also as a way for communication to be sent out through the district. It's one of the many tools we have: elementary class dojo, newsletters. Middle school, high school, a lot of teachers use Remind, Facebook. There are many things that we do. Infinite Campus, the Facebook page, the school web page. But this is one source of information that we're trying to begin to work on, where we can sync it all together. The district is trying to sync all the information together. We can get everything. Now, it's not fully complete right now, so don't download tonight and go home and say why everything's not on there. Still a work in progress, but we're going to give you just the basics of it if you've not already began it. So the first thing that's going to happen, you're going to get a sign-up code. We're working on the kinks right now, so the information for each parent is actually correct. Found a few kinks in terms of email addresses were wrong and phone numbers, but you'll get a link. This is an example of a teacher sent me a link, sent me an email that was on file in Infinite Campus. I got the email that said enter this code to sign up. Now when you do that, you can download the app. iPhone, you can download on the App Store or with Google Play. Download that. And we're going to talk about the app and how you can use it. Now, even if a parent does not download the app, you can still get the information. So it's not a requirement that you must download the app. So the first thing you will see, you'll see an email similar to this. Now, once you get that email, you'll put the code in and you'll register. I went ahead and registered, and you will see automatically my 3 children's names are right there. I didn't do anything other than put the code in because it's already linked to the information that is in Infinite Campus. So that's the wonderful thing. It links directly to the children that are listed under you as a parent or a guardian for a child. Now on the home page, this is just on the website, the Parent Square website that I logged into. We'll see events right here. Right now we see that the board meeting is listed as an event for today. When we get to the point where we link the school calendars to it, you'll see all the other events that you already see on the school's webpage or the district webpage. Now, what this allows you to do is you can communicate with your parents. Parents, you can communicate with your teachers. You can do that by clicking that button that says message. And when you click on message, depending on which child you click, you'll have, it'll send you where you can send a message to only the teachers that are linked to your child. So if I clicked on Katie Williams, it'll go to Mr. Bonds, it'll go to Coach Parker Martin, it'll go to Mrs. Moon, it'll go to her kindergarten teachers. And then I'll be able to send a message to them and they'll get the information. This is similar to just sending an email to your parent, but now you don't have to search for the emails and try to find out if you don't know the email. This automatically sends to them. Also on the page you have Explore. That's where you can look at the calendar and all sorts of events and participate, that's when we start adding polls and different questionnaires or things that you can fill out. But those are things that are coming a little later. Now, I received a message from Mrs. Latanza Williams, and so when I clicked on messages, it showed me the message that I have in my system. So it's similar to Facebook. You can see your messages. Post is just like a post on your Facebook page, except it's not overall, it's specific to you that was sent to you. So everybody can't see what posts were given to you. And you'll have those messages there. So again, I can reply to Mrs. Williams if I needed to, and I can see all the messages that she sent. And again, as a parent, you can do that for all the children that are listed under you and you're their parent or guardian. Now, also, let's say you don't download the app. You may still get an email whether you download the app or not. So this is an email that was sent from that teacher, and it says, do not forget to order pig sticks and chicken for the birthday party. Remember to eat lunch with her today. And I can still reply whether or not I have downloaded the app or not. And we do love for you to download the app so you can see the history, so you can see those things. But right now, even if I didn't download the app, you'll still get a message. So it's similar to Remind that some of you may be familiar with. The teachers send you information. Except this, you don't have to put a code in to join. You automatically in there because you're in Infinite Campus as a parent or guardian for a student. Now, if I downloaded the app, this is what the screen of the app will look like on my phone. It has, pretty simple, it has posts and notices up top. So it shows any posts that I've received. It'll also show over here, you'll see messages, you'll see advanced media, so I can see other things I can do. The same thing that I was doing on the web page, Parent Square web page, a parent can also see in the app. And again, if I click on the left, I can change which child I'm looking at and see information for that particular school. Now, here's the one tricky thing that is linked to what your information that you have written down on those student information sheets. And I know you get all those information sheets at the beginning of the school year. You're tired of filling them out, especially you got 3 kids, so you may slip and may not put the most accurate information, not intentionally, but sometimes it happens. So what you would need to do as a parent is you can log into the Infinite Campus portal if you've not already done that on the school or the district web page. And I clicked on Infinite Campus, and then I logged in as you would normally do to check your child. And what I've done, I clicked on family members. And I updated my information because you may find, you can do this whether at Parent Square or not, you may find that your cell phone number is correct. You may find that your email address is incorrect. You may find all sorts of things incorrect. So you can update that information. And that is important because that is how Parent Square knows your email address. That's how they know your contact information. And if that's incorrect, we'll think we send an email to you, but it may not be sent to you. So that's the major hiccup we kind of have right now, while we haven't pushed out the invites wholeheartedly to everyone in the district, because we're trying to make sure that we have the correct email addresses for everyone, and all the parents and the guardians. And so that's just a quick rundown. It's just as simple as what I just said. You just get an invite, you're going to put the code in, and from there it's pretty simple. Use Facebook. I don't use Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, other stuff, but it's very similar to Facebook to me, except it's not a post for everybody in the world to see. It's direct communication between you and your teacher. And again, it's another source of information that the district, Dr. Edmond, has provided for us to help with Title I in building capacity and communication with parents. So that's what's going to be coming out for read in the paper. You see it on the website about Parent Square. But I want to tell you, again, we're working out some of the kinks. So again, don't download it tonight. Expect you're going to see every single thing. Now, if you download it, you can still connect with your teacher. That's easy and quick. You can connect with your teacher. But the other things we're working on getting in so that you can see all the information that you need to see going on. But we already do a great job of communication right now, in my opinion, as a parent of 3 children system. So we're just trying to help and do another avenue or way that you can connect with your teacher, and the parents and teachers can connect with each other.
Thank you, sir. This is not trying to replace information on the website or anything like that. It's one more way that we can communicate. I'm sure all of you have been here long enough to get what the kids call a robocall. Like if we have ice or snow and we got to cancel school, we send a message out. It's usually in my voice saying school's canceled and those kind of things. This is one more way that we can put that out, that you'll get it an additional way on your phone. All we're trying to do is every way possible to communicate with moms and dads so that you know what's going on. And then when we're able to link the district calendars, you'll see that yes, there is a game tonight, or yes, there is a meeting at the elementary at 7, whatever it is. It's just one more way that we can help you stay informed so that you can communicate.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
what about the parents? The parents who don't have internet and, excuse me, are you still gonna make the calls, send the notes, send the letters?
We're going
To
to do
those
everything we can
parents?
to give them a chance to sign up, yes ma'am, which was one of the purposes of putting it in the paper so they'd be aware.
Okay, but if they don't
No, she's
have
saying if they can't.
internet accessibility, then they can't get on this or any other internet program that we have. So my question is, are we still calling parents? Are we still sending letters if need be? We're not leaving that group of parents out, is what I'm asking. Okay.
I will still do the robocalls and we'll still do the letters.
Yeah, but this is not about robocalls. If the teacher's having something, they gotta bring little Jimmy something for MLK Day, like what he had up there on the computer, where the parent gets something on a piece of paper to tell them that they
Yes.
need to do that. That's what I'm asking. Thank
Yes.
you very much. That's where I was going. Because we don't wanna leave out anybody, because we know in certain spots in this county, even if you have a smartphone, it don't work. Anybody else know that besides me?
I'm aware.
All right, go up 79 to Gill Point. I promise you, if you ain't got some special gadget, it don't work. So that's the other thing. And some people just can't afford the local internet service because it's so expensive and our people are working paycheck to paycheck to paycheck. So that's the other thing, but they still have the right of inclusion and to be involved in their children's education as much as they possibly can. And I want to just clear the record, it doesn't make anyone a bad parent because y'all don't spend that unnecessary money on technology. Make you smarter.
One thing it does do, if a parent, if they do send it out, it will tell us that this parent didn't get it. So it tells us if
But that
if a
parents don't
parent-
get it after the
so-
fact. I
so
don't
it
want
tells
parents.
us-
That's
Yeah, so
my-
it lets
yeah.
us know
Right.
immediately, there's no email address, so that teacher automatically knows I must contact. So that's one thing, it will tell you automatically exactly what parent does not have information in there, and if they do have it, who didn't open the email.
Right.
So you'll know,
got you.
I need to follow up, so it does help in that area if they rely on that, but again, I'm pretty sure they're gonna continue, our little newsletters, keep them
But-
updated, elementary.
Right, but let me go back to this. I thought, and I may be wrong, but I thought after reading the new evaluation tool for teachers, what's it called again? TICAS, yeah. That in there, teachers are to call, send postcards, letters, but they're supposed to call, set up after-school parent-teachers conferences, and a lot of school systems are doing that. Are we doing that?
That's standard 9, correct? Parent communication, and that is, I believe they, contact laws, principals check contact laws, but it is one of the standards that they must have, parent communication, and this is one of the many ways that they can do it, but
I
this
just-
is not the required way you must communicate.
Right, because see, I don't want to get a text about my child. I want to get an email. It's personal. I want, because can you guys prove that this won't be hacked? And all of these kids' social security and all their information is out there? See, technology is good, but we are in the business of protecting the safety of our children. So I want to know if they can hack the Pentagon. I rest my case. Safety is ultimately important. You don't know this, but years ago, something happened and somebody came from North Carolina because they saw a picture, I believe it was on Facebook, and the police caught them stalking a particular person, and they were a student from what I understand. This happened years ago, but here in Lincolnton, but it did happen. Those are the things, and things are getting even worse. Pedophiles go on these websites. I think sometimes we expose our children too much.
Okay, Dr. Wright, the district financial report.
Just wanted to provide some update on, we're working on our master schedule, trying to complete all of the financial pieces on the financial calendar. to keep them online and up to date. And on a positive side note, I want to thank Georgia Power. We got a grant from Georgia Power. I've been working with them for a little while to give us a grant for $5,000 to be able to purchase some of the robots for the programming for the cyber information for the elementary school. And some of that money will also be used for STEM training for our teachers. And one more financial update is Mrs. Cobb and the Ministerial Society did an awesome job with Stuff the Bus. We ended up with many supplies that literally covered that table if you saw the picture. And on top of that, I think the number was $337 of people that just gave money as opposed to giving supplies. So again, we have an awesome supportive community. Our community stepped up and helped us with the need, and we greatly appreciate it.
Do you want to mention the audit review?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. We went through an audit as we do every year, and the board chairman and I and Ms. Bufford get to sit through the audit final, and they discussed the audit final with us. There was no findings this year. If you aren't aware of it, we are very blessed with an excellent CFO that the auditors use Lincoln County as a training ground because it's a way for them to understand what a good audit is supposed to look like. And I'm not just saying that, they say that every time they come here. And when Kay Bufford retires in at least 30 years, I'll let her retire, then we'll all go together. But again, thank you to you and your team for doing a great job. We had no findings. We had a very positive, clean audit, and that's more than we could ever ask for. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, Ms. Buffett.
Mr. Chair, question.
Okay.
I thought, I don't see it on the agenda and it just crossed my mind. I thought tonight was the night to do administrators.
That would come in executive session for personnel.
Oh, it is on there?
Yes, ma'am, it's an executive session for personnel.
But we got a vote out here.
After executive
Right.
session, we'll come out and vote.
We do that
I
every
understand
year.
that, but usually we're told, so that's why. Usually you
At this
changed
time,
everything.
Can we have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
And Jim second. Back to order. The superintendent recommends, and I make a motion, that we accept the retirement of Ms. Lee Aycock effective at the end of the 2018-2019 school year.
Second.
Have a second by Mr. Madison. All in favor? Unanimous. Superintendent recommends, and I make a motion, that we accept the full retirement of Mr. Randy Smith effective at the end of the 2018-2019 school year. Have a motion, a second by Mr. Madison. All in favor? Unanimous. Superintendent recommends, and I make a motion, that we accept the retirement of Ms. Jeannie Smith at the end of the 2018-2000, effective at the end of the 2018-2019 school year.
Motion.
Have a second by Mr. Heitman. All in favor?
Second, I'm sorry.
Unanimous. Superintendent recommends, and I make a motion, that we accept the retirement of Ms. Penny Chafin at the end, effective at the end of the 2018-2019 school year. You have a second by Ms. Barksdale. All in favor? Unanimous. Superintendent recommends, and I make a motion, that we accept the retirement of Ms. Lou Ann Bill effective at the end of the 2018-2019 school year. A second by Mr. Madison. All in favor? Unanimous. The superintendent recommends, and I make a motion, that we accept the retirement of Ms. Molly Asbell effective at the end of the 2018-2019 school year. Second by Ms. Barksdale. All in favor? Unanimous. The superintendent recommends, and I make a motion that we terminate Jeffrey Porter effective January 18, 2019. A second by Mr. Madison. All in favor? Unanimous. Superintendent recommends, and I make a motion that we hire Ms. Cassidy Stein as a school psychologist for the 2019-2020 school year. Second by Ms. Barksdale. All in favor?
Question,
Yes, ma'am.
was that job advertised
Yes, ma'am, for over a year.
by the year? And what,
Over a year.
on the internet? I forgot to ask.
It was on Teach Georgia, it was on our website, it was on all the appropriate places.
Okay,
And every
I
place
just
I could put it, you
great.
couldn't find those people.
Great.
All in favor? All opposed? 4-0. No vote. All right, the superintendent recommends this list that you've all had privilege to for elementary school teaching contracts, and I make a motion that we offer these contracts to elementary school teachers. Second by Mr. Hyden. All in favor? Opposed? Did you?
Yeah, I
She
didn't
did.
see much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Unanimous.
Oh, unanimous, okay.
Superintendent has recommended this list for middle school teaching contracts, and I make a motion that we offer these contracts. Have a second by Ms. Barksdale. All in favor?
I'm gonna abstain from that because my wife's a teacher.
For just
Just
her position?
Just her position.
Okay. Is approved for all
All,
positions?
other than my wife.
I didn't see your, okay. So unanimous, we had one abstention. The superintendent has recommended this list for high school teaching contracts, and I make the motion that we offer these contracts for high school teaching positions. We have a second by Mr. Madison. All in favor? Unanimous. Superintendent has recommended this list for administrative contracts, and I make the motion that we offer these contracts to the administrators.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair. Well, wasn't that administrators go before the teachers?
The way I have them is this. So right now,
That's
we've
what
already
we've
done all the
always-
teachers, so,
That's just how we always talk.
okay.
You do it different.
I didn't do it tonight. I'm sorry.
I think
Yeah, and the
it's a legal
superintendent has
issue.
recommended this list for administrative contracts, and I make the motion. We have a second by Ms. Barksdale. All in favor? Unanimous. The superintendent has recommended, and I make a motion, that we offer part-time teaching position to Mr. Jeff McKinney. Have a second by Mr. Madison. All in favor? Unanimous.
No, I didn't raise my hand on that. I didn't raise my hand.
Okay. Opposed? Correction. 4, and 1 opposed. Superintendent has recommended, and I make a motion, that we hire Miss Mary Elam as a substitute bus driver contingent upon her meeting state and local requirements to drive a school bus. We have a second by Ms. Barksdale. All in favor? Unanimous.
Mr. Chair, clarification.
Ma'am?
Mr. Chair, clarification. These positions that we just hired for each school are administrative and teaching only contracts, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Without anything else, we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second by Ms. Parsons. Thank you.